Cleveland.com. It says why the Browns will likely pursue wide receiver Mike Evans and why it makes sense, dog. Instead, the Cleveland Browns are set to try to go after six-time Pro Bowler wide receiver Mike Evans. Is set to hit the free agent market this upcoming Monday, which is tomorrow. And the Browns are expected to be among the multiple teams interested. Now, the Browns make more sense than some, in part because they're
six-time Pro Bowler, 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, tied with Jerry Rice for the most consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons to start a career. And according to Cleveland.com, the Browns are about to make their move when free agency opens Monday. This isn't speculation anymore. Todd Monken coached Mike Evans in Tampa Bay from 2016 to 2018. They know each other, they've got history, and Cleveland just signaled they're willing to spend big to fix their offense.
Jeudy, man, Todd Monken as his offense coordinator back in Tampa, bruh, went on to say in their first 3 years together from 2016 to 20, probably meant to put 2 years, to 2018, Evans earned 32, his two-time Pro Bowl selection, and he clips 1,000 yards in each of those seasons. In addition, serving as offensive coordinator, Monken also coached the receivers in the first of his 2 seasons there and got to know Evans. He's 6'5", 231 pounds. Mike Evans is like that. Let's check out some of these comments, man. Killer player who is tied with Jerry Rice for the...
Let's talk about what Monken actually did with Evans in Tampa. 3 years together as offensive coordinator, Evans made 2 Pro Bowls during that stretch, eclipsed 1,000 yards every single season. Monken didn't just call plays for him. He coached receivers directly in their first year together. That's not just familiarity, that's a relationship built on trust and production. Now compare that to what Cleveland's dealing with right now. Jerry Jeudy had butterfingers all season, dropped passes in critical moments. The wide receiver room became a liability instead of an asset. Shedeur Sanders needs weapons, not question marks. Mike Evans at 6'5", 231 pounds? That's not a question mark, that's an answer.
Of all time. To me, Jerry Rice had to be my GOAT because I remember when Jerry Rice used to play. A lot of people probably don't. Some of y'all might remember when Jerry Rice used to play. This young man, to even be in the company of a Jerry Rice is just speaking volumes, bruh. He's a Super Bowl champion with Tom Brady, 6-time Pro Bowler, and ranked high historical in receiving touchdowns, top 10 all time and yards for the most up-to-date or detailed breakdown, including game logs. That's ESPN stuff. But I'm telling you right now, this is a big time. Look, in 2014.
Here's the part that makes this realistic. Evans is hitting free agency at 31 years old. He's coming off another 1,000-yard season, his 11th consecutive. But Tampa Bay is in a different position now. They've got salary cap decisions to make, younger receivers to develop. The Buccaneers might not be able to match what Cleveland's willing to offer, and Cleveland has the cap space to make a serious run. Andrew Berry has been conservative in free agency before, but this feels different. Monken's connection to Evans changes the equation. When your offensive coordinator can pick up the phone and pitch a guy he's already won with, that matters. Free agents want to go somewhere they know the system. Evans already knows Monken's system.
If they get some tangibles along the offensive line, they easily improves the offense tremendously if they can get Mike Evans, bro. And I think this is very possible, bro. Like, remember where y'all heard it first, bro, because ain't nobody really talking about this whole Mike Evans thing, dog. Like, this thing is going to hit the fan come Monday morning, bro. I can almost promise you. Let me see if anybody online talking about this Mike Evans thing, because this is big time news, bro. And I like hearing news like this. Like, if we get Mike Evans, bro.
But here's where it gets complicated. Mike Evans is projected to command $20 to $25 million per year on the open market. That's elite receiver money. That's the kind of contract that defines your franchise's direction for the next 3 years. So Andrew Berry has to ask himself the critical question, does Mike Evans help us score points and win games? The answer should be obvious, but let's break it down anyway. Evans has never had a season below 1,000 receiving yards since entering the league in 2014. 11 straight years of elite production. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's been to 6 Pro Bowls. He ranks in the top 10 all-time in receiving touchdowns. This isn't a gamble on potential. This is paying for proven, consistent, elite performance.
It need to be now. Some people would say they got quarterback issues. I don't believe they got quarterback issues. I believe that's made up. I believe if you put the right tools around Shedeur, he's going to be successful. There is no debating. There is no if, ands, or buts about it. He's downright going to be successful, bro. This is a big move if they could pull this off. Now, we got more news coming out of Cleveland in regards to Andrew Berry gameplay.
Now let's address the elephant in the room. Some people are saying Cleveland has quarterback issues, that Shedeur Sanders isn't the answer, that no receiver can fix what's broken at that position. I'm calling that narrative exactly what it is, manufactured doubt. Put the right tools around Shedeur Sanders, and he's gonna be successful. There's no debate about it. Look at what happened in Colorado. Sanders had weapons, he had protection, he produced. The moment you take those elements away, any quarterback struggles. Tom Brady would struggle behind a bad offensive line with no receiving threats. It's not about the quarterback's talent, it's about the infrastructure around him.
He needs to ask himself before submitting offers to guys. I wrote the question down because I was afraid I was going to forget it. And so here's the question that Andrew Berry needs to ask himself and the room before signing anybody. And Tyler Linderbaum, he's number one on the list that this needs to be asked about. Okay? Again, this is a player that's projected to get 20 to 25 million average.
Mike Evans changes that infrastructure immediately. Suddenly you've got a legitimate number one receiver, a guy who commands double teams, a guy who wins contested catches, a guy who shows up in the red zone. That opens up everything else. Running lanes get wider because defenses can't stack the box. Other receivers get better matchups because the defense has to account for Evans first. And here's what nobody's talking about, the psychological impact. When you're a young quarterback and you know you've got a Hall of Fame caliber receiver on your side, that changes how you play. You trust your reads more. You throw with more confidence. You take calculated risks because you know your guy can bail you out. Evans provides that security blanket Sanders desperately needs.
In paying a center premium offensive line dollars unless he plays left tackle. Okay? Like, I think Joe Bitonio last year made around like 13 million or something like that. Okay? And you're going to bring in a guy to play center and pay him up to $25 million a year? That's insanity. Now, I have a theory as to, because you had mentioned, Andrew Berry's name dropping this dude at the
But there's another angle to this story that's getting buried. The 92.3, the fan clip, raises a legitimate concern about how Cleveland approaches free agency. The question Andrew Berry needs to ask before signing anyone: do they help us score points and win? That's the right framework. But here's where it gets tricky. Tyler Linderbaum is projected to get 20 to 25 million per year as a center. Same price range as Mike Evans. One guy catches touchdowns, the other guy snaps the ball. Berry mentioned Linderbaum at the Combine, which makes some people think Cleveland's interested. But paying premium money for a center when you could get a game-changing receiver? That's where the logic breaks down.
Listen, he was drooling over Travis Hunter going into the NFL draft. And he had already agreed to trade that pick to Jacksonville a week earlier. So I do think, again, as I like to say, I'm not saying that Andrew Berry lies to us. I'm saying Andrew Berry lies to us. But I'm not saying he lies to us. But he does lie to us. And so that kind of makes me feel better that he's openly talked about Tyler.
Here's the theory worth considering. Andrew Berry lies to us. Not maliciously, strategically. He was drooling over Travis Hunter leading up to the draft. Talked about him constantly. Then Cleveland traded that pick to Jacksonville a week earlier. Berry had already made his decision, but he kept talking about Hunter to keep other teams guessing. So when Barry drops Linderbaum's name at the combine unprompted twice, that might not be genuine interest. That might be misdirection. He could be driving up the price for another general manager. Making a division rival overpay for a center while Cleveland quietly locks in Mike Evans at receiver. If that's the play, it's brilliant.
Into paying that $20 to $25 million.
And maybe Baltimore, maybe that other GM being within the division, you know.
So that was 92 The Fan speaking about the latest pickups.
Because at the end of the day, football is about scoring points. Joel Bitonio made around $13 million last year playing multiple positions on the offensive line. You're telling me Cleveland should pay nearly double that for a center? A position that doesn't touch the ball except to snap it? That doesn't make sense unless you're trying to protect against a specific defensive scheme, and even then, the value proposition is questionable. Mike Evans, on the other hand, directly impacts scoring. Every single game, he's a red zone threat. He converts third downs. He draws pass interference penalties that move the chains. He makes plays that change momentum. That's what $25 million should buy you, not protection, production. And here's what makes the timing perfect. Cleveland is in win now mode. Shedeur Sanders is on a rookie contract. That's your window. You've got affordable quarterback play for the next few years, which means you can spend big on weapons and protection. You load up now while the cap structure allows it. You don't wait. You don't rebuild. You go all in. Mike Evans represents that all-in mentality. He's not a project. He's not a developmental guy. He's a proven winner who can contribute immediately. First game of the season, he's your #1 receiver. No adjustment period. No learning curve. Just instant production from day one. The Monken connection makes this even more seamless. Evans already knows the terminology. He knows the route concepts. He knows how Monken likes to attack defenses. That chemistry exists from their Tampa Bay days. You're not starting from scratch. You're reuniting a successful partnership and adding better pieces around it. Think about what Cleveland's offense could look like with Evans, a healthy offensive line, and Quentin Jennings in the backfield. Suddenly you've got balance. You can run the ball effectively, which sets up play action. Evans runs deep routes off play action, better than almost anyone in the league. His size and ball skills make him nearly impossible to defend on those shots downfield. And in the red zone, forget about it. Evans has made a career out of winning jump balls in tight coverage. When you get inside the 20, you've got a guy who can go up and get it over smaller defensive backs. That's how you turn field goals into touchdowns. That's how you win close games in December and January. But let's be real about the competition. Cleveland won't be the only team pursuing Mike Evans when free agency opens Monday. Multiple teams are going to make offers. Teams with better recent track records. Teams in warmer climates. Teams with established veteran quarterbacks. Cleveland has to sell Evans on the vision, not the current reality. That's where Monken becomes crucial. He can vouch for the organization. He can explain the offensive system. He can paint the picture of what this offense becomes with Evans as the centerpiece. Personal relationships matter in free agency. Guys take less money to play for coaches they trust. Guys choose situations where they know they'll be used correctly. Evans doesn't need the money. He's made over $100 million in his career. This next contract is about legacy. Does he want to finish his career trying to help Tampa Bay stay competitive, or does he want to be the missing piece that elevates a young team into contention? Does he want to be the veteran leader who helps develop a promising young quarterback? Because that's the pitch Cleveland should make. You're not just another receiver here. You're the guy. You're the leader of this receiving room. You're the mentor for younger players. You're the security blanket for a quarterback who needs someone he can trust. You're the difference between 8 wins and 12 wins. And if Cleveland pulls this off, the entire narrative around this franchise changes. Suddenly, you're not the team that can't figure out the receiver position. You're not the team that wastes draft picks on developmental players who never pan out. You're the team that made a bold move to fix a glaring weakness. You're the team that's serious about winning now. So when free agency opens Monday morning, watch Cleveland closely. Watch what Andrew Berry does. If Mike Evans signs somewhere else, we'll know the Browns either didn't make a strong enough offer or couldn't convince him to come. But if he signs in Cleveland, everything changes. The offense instantly becomes dangerous. Shedeur Sanders gets the weapon he needs, and the Browns become a legitimate threat in a wide-open AFC North. This is the move that defines Cleveland's offseason, not the draft. Not smaller free agent signings. This, Mike Evans, the 6-time Pro Bowler who's still producing at an elite level, the guy who knows the offensive coordinator, The guy who can transform an offense overnight. So the question becomes, is Andrew Berry willing to spend what it takes to land him? Because if the answer is yes, Cleveland just became a lot more interesting. And if the answer is no, we're going to spend another year watching this offense struggle to score points while everyone wonders what could have been. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Cleveland lands Mike Evans? Is he worth $25 million per year at 31 years old? And if you're Andrew Berry, are you making this move or spending that money elsewhere? Let me know what you think. Hit that like button if you want to see this happen. Subscribe for more Browns coverage as free agency unfolds. Because Monday morning is going to tell us everything we need to know about Cleveland's direction.